Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Berkeley County Board of Education meeting this Tuesday, September the 8th, 2015. I call this meeting to order, and I declare a quorum is present and the media has been notified. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the agenda, and it's been seconded. Do we have any discussion? Then at this time, all of those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. The agenda is approved. At this time, please stand with us for the opening prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to agenda item 4, approval of the minutes for our regular meeting, August the 25th, 2015, and for our special meeting, which was on August the 31st, 2015.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes for the regular meeting on August 25th, 2015, and for the special meeting on August the 31st, 2015.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve the minutes for our regular meeting on August the 25th and for our special meeting on August the 31st. And it's been seconded. Is there any discussion of those minutes? Then I'll call the question. All of those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. All of those opposed, same sign. Then the minutes for the two meetings are approved. At this time, we will go into our citizens' comments. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take immediate action or public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting. Comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding complaints against employees other than district-level executives or references to students other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic should select one speaker. The board has set aside 30 minutes total for the public comment section. To maximize participation, comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The board chair does reserve the right to allot additional time or to halt public comments that do not adhere to these guidelines. Our first speaker tonight, Ms. Jane Pulling, Community Healing, is the comments she wants to make.
Thank you, Chairman Hayes, Dr. Turner, and members of the board. Good evening. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. As Mr. Hayes said, my name is Jane Pulling. I'm a retired educator and an active member of the Berkeley County community where my husband and I have lived for 25 years. I want to speak with you tonight about healing and moving forward. As most of us here tonight know, our education community has been in some turmoil for the past 2 years since the passage of the 2012 bond referendum, which I proudly co-chaired. Whether you supported the referendum or did not, I hope that we can all agree that the intent of that great effort was to make things better for our children. And I hope that you would agree that many, many children are now receiving the benefit of new or remodeled schools, safer schools, and better technology. I believe it's time to come together, more than time to heal and time to move on. My good friend Amy Kovach did a wonderful job as Director of Community Relations when she was on staff with the district. She provided just the kind of warm, compassionate outreach to community groups and individuals that we so urgently need today. I'm asking that you please consider allowing her to once again fill the role that she filled so capably in the past. As I said earlier, it's time to heal. Let's move forward. We are welcoming a new school year. We will very soon welcome a new superintendent. Let's make it a bright time all around. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, Ms. Nancy Corbin, a legal issue.
The ends do not justify the means. Illegal is illegal, wrong is wrong. If any other employee in the school district had disregarded the policies, both ethically and criminally, as was done in the case of this referendum, they would have been dismissed, which should be the outcome in this. The only caveat that I see is that this board, who was condescending and knew what was going on from the beginning and part of it and gave directions to do it, should go also. You allowed this to go on for 2 years when you knew what was happening, you knew what was done was wrong, and you stood there and let it happen. You let her suffer for 2 years, in my opinion, to save your own butts. However, she still made a decision to do what was wrong, as some of you did. And that should be the ends.
Our next speaker is Ms. Angie Simmons. Her topic, Amy Kovach.
To Chairman Hayes, Dr. Turner, board members, good evening. American statesman Bernard Baruch once said, "Even when we know what is right, we often fail to act." I am here tonight speaking on behalf of the members of the Berkeley County Progressive League in reference to Ms. Amy Kovach, and imploring you as a board to do what's right. We all know the outcome of the recent court case against Mrs. Kovach, but regardless of those findings, Mrs. Kovach was still working on behalf of the Berkeley County School District, doing her job as instructed by the superintendent and this board. As a matter of public record, on July 24th, 2012, board member Philip Obey questioned Mrs. Kovach about fundraising for the referendum and asked, "Why are we waiting until September 5th to begin the campaign?" He even pushed for Mrs. Kovach to be more aggressive. How can you pressure someone to do his or her job and then turn your back on that person when he or she does? Mrs. Kovach worked for the school district and the board. She did everything she was directed to do. From my personal perspective, she should not have been singled out in this case. If a case were to be brought at all, it should have been brought against the entity and not the individual. Again, Mrs. Kovach worked on your behalf, and now as a board, you need to stand up for her and reinstate her to her position or a comparable one in the school district. My Bible teaches me that we are our brother's keepers. I don't see the point of us being human beings if we are not going to be responsible for each other. In the words of Spike Lee, we need to do the right thing. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ms. Lauren Raycroft. Speaking and would like to express support of employees of the Berkeley County School District.
My husband is a principal in the school district. He served this school district for 28 years. He was called to this job because he loves children and he wants what's best for them. He came up in near poverty conditions, and coaches and teachers helped shape his life, shape his future into something more than he ever dreamed it could be. And that's what he wanted to do for our kids. And Berkeley County School District is one of the largest employers in the county, if not the largest employer in the county. We have an obligation to our employees to treat them right and fairly. And I can't second what the previous speaker said enough, that you've asked someone to do their job and they've risen to the occasion and done their job. And I challenge you, I know, how hard my husband advocated for children during the bond referendum in his off hours, but I would challenge you to look at everyone in the school district and see who didn't advocate for children and say, we need these schools, we need this. And everyone that's on the school board, when you decided to be on the school board, what was your agenda when you decided to be on the school board? My husband's agenda when he decided to become an educator was to help children, and I dearly pray and hope that your role on the school board was for that same goal. I have no doubt that Amy Kovach was acting in the best interest of the school district and doing her job, and I really would hope you reinstate her. This community needs healing. The law was unfairly applied. She's not an elective official. The law was unfairly applied to her. It didn't apply to her. And I just am appalled that as she was doing her job, there's nothing worse than when you're trying to do the right thing for your kids and then to be criticized and condemned and dragged through the mud publicly. And I think she's got upwards of $200,000 in legal bills. We have failed her. And when we fail her, we fail every employee in the school district. And if you think you want to hold and keep and gain and draw in good teachers, and you treat your employees this way, another employee was dragged through the mud in the public eye without a fair hearing of the situation at his school. And when I see that, it is chilling to me as the spouse of an employee in this school district. Please do right by your employees so they can do right by your children. We have hospitals, and we have a MUSC Children's Hospital, and the professionals hired to help take care of those children, the doctors and the nurses, do their jobs because they love children and they want what's best for children. That's what our teachers do. And we're second-guessing them, and we're shooting them down, and we're not letting the professionals do their jobs. So I implore you, please let the professionals do their jobs. Please support the teachers and the educators in this school district so they can do right by our children, do right by them.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 6.
Mr. Archie Francini is ill today. He has problems with his eye and has had to go into the doctor's office several times today. And so, in fact, I think he's going to be out and not being able to wear his contacts or any other thing until about Thursday. So when he called to tell me that this morning, I said, oh, I guess that means I get to present it again, because when I was assistant superintendent, I presented the exam schedule every year. So here it is one more time, those of you who followed that with me. When you're doing a 4x4 schedule, as we are in all of our high schools, it behooves us to look at the way in which we can structure those exams at the end of the first semester and end of the second semester so as extremely efficient. And one of the things we'd like to try to do is to wait as long as we possibly can in the semester and not have students taking exams too early, but being able to fit them all in so no student is taking more than 2 final exams a day in our system. And also that we don't ask students to go back to a 90-minute class after they've already taken the final exam in that 90-minute class. Let's see if I can say that another way. How would you like to be the teacher of a classroom? You've already given the final exam and all the students come back to sit with you for 90 minutes after they take the exam. So the way we have done that in the past is we have, at the end of the first semester, sometimes we have embedded classes that are either 45 minutes or 90 minutes on an alternate day basis. It's called an embedded period. Not all classes in the third block are embedded. Most are not. But when you have that, you have to take it into account. So on Wednesday, December 16th, there would be one exam, and it's for the second course that's embedded in the third block of the thing. And then on Thursday, it's either the first exam that's given is either the exam for a third block itself, or if you happen to be in a A-B situation with embedded, you take the first 3A exam. Then in the second exam you take that day would be your fourth block exam. Why? Well, because the last two exams we want to give are the first and second block, which would be given on Friday, and then have the high schools dismissed early. Only the high schools dismissed at midday, so we run a half-day schedule, so they do not come back after taking their last exams in that situation. So then in the spring semester, we have seniors that are finishing their classes early, just a little bit early. Some of them are taking exams. Many of them are not because they exempt exams, but the ones that are, we're proposing at the end of the year that they take their exams on May the 19th and May the 20th. Notice the third and fourth block are given first on one day, and then the first and second block the next day. And it also has notes in there about graduation practice. If you'll please turn to the next page. The next page shows, and because we have two high schools that are actually having exams at the same time the seniors are graduating in the Coliseum, and we can't do anything about that because the Coliseum dictates to us when the graduation ceremonies occur for us. One of our schools, Goose Creek High School, has a graduation that's early. So what we're proposing for that high school is that they will have their exams on Wednesday, May the 25th, third and fourth block, and then on Thursday they have their first and second block exam, and then on Friday they have their embedded 3A and 3B. We will need a half-day schedule for all students, if you'll notice, for Thursday and Friday. In your calendar, you already had a half-day schedule for Friday, May 27th. What we're proposing is that we have one additional half-day, which will be on Thursday. Notice that's also the case for Hanahan High School. And this structure of exams for Hanahan High School also takes into account that they're going to have an early graduation for Hanahan High School. So this makes it possible for those students and teachers there to participate more fully in the graduation. And for all other high schools who do not have the complication of having a graduation ceremony in the middle of the day, the exam schedule that's at the bottom of the page will work for them. Again, starting off with the 3B embedded, then Thursday a half-day schedule where you have the 3 and 4 as it was at the end of the first semester, and then on Friday, May 27th, blocks 1 and 2. So if you would please show them the graduation schedule. This is the graduation schedule. And so we have Hanahan High School at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday when other students normally are taking exams. And then Friday we have an 11:30 a.m. graduation for Goose Creek High School. So this has complicated the exam schedule, but we think we have it figured out well. The proposal we're asking when the administration is recommending that we add to the instructional calendar a half day for the very last day of the first semester and an additional half day early dismissal for high schools only on Thursday, May 26th. So that's adding 2 early dismissal days for high schools into the instructional calendar, again, at the last day of the first semester, and also then Thursday, because we already had Friday at the end of the school year. Are there any questions the board members might have about this proposal? Yes, sir.
Just so Hanahan will take their they'll graduate on Thursday, but then blocks 1 and 2 will take exams on Friday after graduation.
Yes, that is correct.
Seniors have already taken their exams.
Notice
gotcha.
that, yes, right. Seniors have already taken their exams early. This is for all the other students and also the teachers who may need to go, some of the teachers may need to go down there and help supervise students in the Coliseum. If you've ever been there, it wouldn't be fun to be an unsupervised activity. Okay, no one would have fun. All right, so that is our recommendation to you. The upshot of this rather complicated final exam schedule for the year is that it's the most orderly way we can do it. All the schools are operating approximately the same way. Nobody's turning in books early. Nobody is getting out, finishing exams days early. None of that's going on. It's all fixed. Everyone knows what's going to happen. And we also allow for these early graduations in the best way possible. That's our recommendation, Mr. Chairman. We're recommending that adjustment to the instructional calendar to accommodate this schedule.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion?
We do, Mr. Chairman. I move that we accept the recommendation of the administration to amend the 2015-2016 instructional calendar to allow for half-day dismissal on Friday, December 18th, and Thursday, May 26th, for high schools only.
Second.
All right, we have the motion that we accept the recommendation of the administration to amend the 2015-16 instructional calendar to allow for half-day dismissal on Friday, December the 18th, and Thursday, May the 26th, for high schools only. It has been seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Hayes, what time would our high schools be getting out? If we have graduation at
11:30?
11:30 for Hanahan, what time will Hanahan be done with their exams?
Well, they can adjust slightly because those are review periods. I'm not exactly sure. The principal is going to have to look at their situation. There may be, but see, they're only reviewing for exams 1 and 2. They're not taking exams. They're actually reviewing for exams 1 and 2. Does that?
Yes.
So there
Okay,
really are
sorry,
no exams being given. We're not shaving any time off their exam time, but we are actually giving them some extra review time, which they probably sorely need before they take their final exams. And so that can be adjusted slightly to make sure that people can get down there, the teachers especially,
Okay.
before.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
that does, yes.
Okay, it's a little messy about that, but I think we can, the principals will work it out best way possible.
Any other discussion? Questions? All right, then, all of those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Then the motion carries 8-0. All right, moving on to agenda item number 7, instruction accountability. Item for action is Arts and Education Week proclamation. Dr. O'Gorman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Turner, ladies and gentlemen. We have a request from Robin Berlinski, Executive Director of Engaging Creative Minds, as well as Mike Gibbons, Executive Director of Charleston Regional Alliance for the Arts, to decree the week of September 13th through 19th as Arts and Education Week in Berkeley County. We have a resolution in your packet that I'm going to summarize in just a moment, but I'm going to call Mr. Westbury up. Mr. Westbury is our Fine Arts Coordinator. He's going to run through a list of activities, some of the highlights for that week prior to me going through that resolution.
Good evening. Good evening. During the period that we are celebrating the National Arts and Education Week, there are 5 major events happening in Berkeley County schools. Cane Bay High School Drama Company is presenting their Homicide Hotel, which is an interactive murder mystery dinner theater event. Howe Hall Ames is hosting its Family Arts Night. Boulder Bluff Elementary is unveiling a student art gallery. The Hanahan High School Chorus is presenting their Coffee House performances. And Goose Creek High School is hosting the annual marching band preview show, where all the Berkeley County marching bands will be putting on an exhibition as they prepare for the upcoming competition season. The major thing happening at this time right now is preparations for the big events to come down the road. For example, the Boardroom Art Show, which will be happening on October 27th. Santee Canal Celebrate the Season, where many of our students are helping to prepare the large postcards to decorate the park for that event. Our bands, orchestras, and choirs are preparing for Veterans Day programs, holiday programs, that kind of thing. Our dance programs are preparing for their holiday programs and a workshop with the Charlotte Ballet. And our drama departments are preparing their students to participate in the South Carolina Theater Association High School Festival the International Thespian Society High School Festival and their fall productions.
Okay, so the resolution I'm going to summarize. I'm not going to read all the whereas, therefores, what ifs kinds of statements. So we believe that arts education is an element of the complete and well-rounded student. It develops critical thinking and problem-solving skills. It does increase attendance and graduation rates, contributes to the personal growth outside the classroom for our students, helps them to learn communicating through words, images, sounds, and movement. There is concern that the testing and accountability measures and reduced funding are leading to the reduction of access to arts and education for South Carolina students. We believe that arts are an integral part of the complete education package for our students, and where the superintendent is charged with the education and development of our well-rounded students, we resolve that September 13th through the 19th of 2015 be the Arts and Education Week in Berkeley County School District.
Do we have a motion?
You do, Mr. Chair. I move that we designate the week of September 13th through the 19th, 2015, as Arts and Education Week in accordance with the resolution submitted by administration in Agenda Item 7.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve the week of September the 13th through the 19th of 2015 as the Arts and Education Week in Berkeley County in accordance with the resolution that has been submitted by the administration in Agenda Item 7. Any discussion? Then at this time, we'll make a vote on this. All of those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the week of September 13th through 19th is Art and Education Week in Berkeley County. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next is our Philip Simmons STEAM Schools, plural. We had a little technical difficulty last time. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to make it through this presentation today. You good, Mr. McQuillan? You okay? Okay. All right. So I went over just a few of the talking points last time, but I'm going to take a little more time today. So what is, excuse me, let me back up real quick. I just kind of went right through that, didn't I? So STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. So that's where that STEAM acronym comes from. You hear a lot of schools being STEM schools that leaves the arts out, and of course we've got some art schools as well. But STEAM kind of combines it all into one nice package. This is straight from the South Carolina STEAM Implementation Continuum. So there's actually a rubric at the state level that would help us evaluate the implementation of it. So you see the bold type there, students to experience those subjects that I said as they would in a career setting in both creative expressions and problem-solving situations. So it's sort of a real-life application of those subjects in the school. So that acronym talks about how those subjects relate to each other and to the real world. And so that first bullet there strikes home with me, the science and technology interpreted through engineering and the arts, all based in mathematical elements. That's pretty complex. It sounds fancy, doesn't it? And also with the arts, you know, sometimes I know that we think of art, you might just think of a drawing class or just a music class, but it's actually a broad spectrum of the arts. It's not one of those areas. You see the liberal arts going well beyond formally folding in language arts, social studies, physical arts, fine arts, and music that each help develop those other subject areas. And again, that exploratory learning environment. And a lot of folks think that all this happens in a lab setting, but that's not always the case. It's really about a way of teaching. It's not just one project or one activity. It's a continuous blending of these subjects into the classroom with inquiry and collaboration related again to real-world experience. So one of the biggest challenges in implementing a STEAM sort of system is making sure that all the teachers are trained and knowledgeable about those particular areas, so 21st century skills, project-based learning, and then the teacher as facilitator, so not just standing up and lecturing, but walking around the classroom and facilitating learning, and then designing curriculum around those subject areas. And of course, the end goal being that we've got all students investigating and engaged in authentic problems. And so here is what it is and what it is not. A lot of folks think that just by providing technology into the classroom is a way of implementing learning with technology, but it's a little bit more than that. And it's not just projects with one product, and it's not just done in a lab setting, but again, this engaging, problem-solving, collaboration, integrated learning. This is a timeline that I went over last time. So we are or have been in the throes of identifying research-based models and practices. There's a lot of interpretation about the implementation of STEAM schools. We're in that September, October. We're visiting sites right now. In fact, some folks went to Columbia today to look at some. We've got November there to develop common vision and goals. That asterisk is there because a principal could be named somewhere between November, December, depending on the new superintendent coming in and making that happen, because we want to make sure that that principal is part of developing that common vision and goal setting. And then bringing in additional stakeholders at that time. What we want to do at the district level is bring in the research, sort of the parameters in which that school would function, and then let the broader stakeholders, work inside that research to create what will be the Philip Simmons schools. And then through by December into January, create a detailed strategic plan. So here is the initial committee. You see that we've got folks from Cabinet. We've got some K-8 principals, Marty French and Anthony Dixon involved. We've got technology involved, Mr. Westbury, obviously. We've got our math folks. We've got one of our instructional technologists, career in technology as well. So all these folks are involved again on that initial sort of finding all that research and going out to visit successful practices elsewhere to bring ideas back to Berkeley County. So I was working on this presentation, and my wife was looking over my shoulder at home while I was working on it, and she says, so what is STEAM again? And I told her, and she said, well, aren't y'all already doing that in Berkeley County? And I said, well, yes, we are. So what I've done is I've created a movie trailer that really shows what STEAM in practice already looks like across Berkeley County School District. So this is a movie trailer teaser. I have to admit, that was pretty fun to make. All right, Mr. Jackson, good editing there. So again, I hope that gives you sort of a in vision of what classes should look like at the Philip Simmons Elementary and Middle Schools. If you have any questions at this time, I'll be happy to try and answer them for you.
Thank you.
Good.
It was quite clever.
Great, thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 8, Superintendent's Report. Item for information, the teacher forum report.
Before I ask, while Lauren is coming up, I want to mention a couple of things. Number one, I informed the board through board update that we have a couple of classes in Daniel Island. There are blended classes in the 6th grade social studies that if you have a chance you might want to visit, because I think it's right on target with what we're talking about here. And they're experimental classes, but there are some really talented people working on that. And it's 8:30 to 9:30 only. Please call the principal ahead of time because they may be having something that intervenes in that time period, and I would want you to see a typical experience there if you have the time. And also there is, I've talked to the cabinet about this. We've had 2 reports now, or 2 incidents in our middle schools with regard to some BB guns that look like very realistic revolvers. And they actually have quote-unquote bullets in them that have little pellets in them that shoot out of the gun, out of the quote-unquote bullets. It's a very realistic looking revolver of the latest type, apparently. And I bring this to your, want to mention this to everyone because it's not the kids who bring it to school that I'm worried about, because school is a relatively safe environment. It's the fact that they can buy these in our own stores in this community and walk outside their houses or apartments into an adult environment, and when they shoot these guns, it has a plosive sound that might get them killed. It's my intent to let all principals know with pictures from those community stores that are selling those things to children who are 12 and 13 years old. And if we can keep one of those kids in Berkeley County from getting killed, it would be worth all of this time I'm talking to you and more. And so if you want to let those store owners know, if you see them in those stores, that you don't appreciate they're making a profit off of such a thing. That's an evil thing. It needs to stop. So I've had my say about realistic BB guns, okay, and I feel better about it, and I'm glad I've notified all of you, because now you have the responsibility to tell others. Now, Ms. Reeder.
All right. Thank you.
Now that we have everyone's attention,
Yes, okay.
the teacher forum report, which I'm really looking forward to.
Thank you. Well, good evening, Chairman Hayes and Dr. Turner, members of the board. I'm privileged to stand before you and represent Forum and all of the Berkeley County teachers. I'm here to give you the first quarter update concerning Teacher Forum and what we've been doing on this past summer, all the way starting back in June. And yes, we are 4 weeks into school, and what we've been little busy bees working already. For those board members that maybe aren't aware, every year our district puts on a full day of professional development for teachers in February. However, every other year, the district empowers teachers by letting Teacher Forum completely put on and gives us the responsibility for planning the day of professional development. It's by teachers and for teachers. So it's a very big undertaking, considering that this is also how Teacher Forum resupplies our budget for the following 2 years. We plan food and vendors, silent auctions, and not to mention recruit teachers to put on mini sessions for all 2,000 teachers in our district. So it is quite an undertaking. And this is an instructional fair year. So we started this journey this summer in June at our planning retreat that we have every year. And last year, Stephanie, our past Teacher Forum chair, she inspired us all with this quote. And she said, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up the people to collect wood and don't assign them task and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. And she was such a wonderful chair and did such a good job of really inspiring and empowering us teachers to be teacher leaders in our schools and then even in our district. But I know that you have heard at these board meetings, as I've been here as well, all of the things that seem to be coming down the pipeline for teachers and how it seemed to be overwhelming for us. And so while Stephanie inspired us to build our own boat and to leave the shore, we have seemed to find ourselves a bit in the middle of a storm. And so we have our boat, but we have a lot of things that are happening with teacher evaluation and SLOs. It is the instructional fair year. We don't know what our state assessment is. We do have a wonderful new superintendent coming, and there's also new standards, and we're also rewriting our curriculum. So to think about planning an instructional fair on top of teaching your children, at least for me as well, seemed to be a bit of a storm. But I came across this quote from one of my favorite women, Corrie ten Boom, who was a Holocaust survivor. And she said, "In order to know the worth of our anchor, we have to feel the stress of the storm." And I knew that I had found my inspiration for what is going to be our theme and our quote for Teacher Forum this year. It turned into our mantra that the anchor holds in spite of the storm. This summer, we reflected back onto what was going to be our anchor, that in the middle of the storm, on those days when we felt like we're really overwhelmed and I don't think I can do this anymore, or like today when our class pet died, poor lightning bolt. That's a pretty, we had, as the class of second graders, we had to talk about how the anchor holds in spite of that. And we thought about what our anchor was going to be in this next year, that our anchor is going to hold, and why did we get into this profession, and it was for children. I can already tell you that many of my Teacher Forum friends have already said, but don't just remember the anchor holds. So it's really kind of been our mantra that we've held on to, and that we hope to encourage other teachers in our district with. But during this retreat, our ultimate goal was to develop a vision for the instructional fair, because we didn't really have one. And we were just thinking through, well, what do we want teachers to get from? What do we want them to walk away with? What are we really doing this for? Not to just say, yay, Teacher Forum did this, but what do we want teachers to get out of it? So we created this vision for our instructional fair. And I highlighted the word unite because, and I'm going to come back to that in a second, but that is, I think, our biggest goal is that we unite our district. This is a year for it, especially in storms. They tend to bring people together. And so we thought that this was, that uniting all of Berkeley County was kind of our big goal that we wanted to get behind. But we wanted to provide meaningful learning experiences, not just sit and get and feeling like you're just listening to somebody else talk about things you've already heard, but that the classes were developed by teachers, but they were personalized so that they fit each teacher, that they were learner driven. Every day we get up and we teach our kids in ways that's not sit and get. And then we come to professional developments and we teach the teachers with sit and get. So we wanted to make it, model it to be more realistic how we would teach in our classrooms. And then of course technology enhanced as well. So we decided to completely rebrand this, to kind of just change it and start fresh. And so we're not going to call it the instructional fair anymore. We are now calling it the BCSD Conference. And it stands for Building Community in a Sea of Diversity. Also kind of a nod back to the anchor, holding in spite of the storm. We wanted our motto to just be that we are Berkeley County. It's BCSD United. And we've developed, actually just today in our LCAC meeting, we developed that our slogan, and that the headline on all of our work and the PR that we send out is going to be an anchor with the names of all of our schools, and the BCSD Conference, Building a Community in a Sea of Diversity. But I put a picture there of Mr. Rhonda because the tragedy, the shooting that happened at the AME Church happened just a few days before our summer retreat. And our hearts were grieving just for the injustice of the situation, but then also losing one of our own, Mr. Rhonda. And so then coming to a Teacher Forum planning retreat to plan instructional fair felt a little trite in the midst of that. And so we wanted to bring people together in the BCSD conference to gather all the educators in Berkeley County, that all of us are working together for all the children. We are all Berkeley County. And that's what we want teachers to walk away with on that day, that we're all coming together to be better educators. We love our county, and we want all the teachers to feel that. And so that was what we wanted our day to reflect. And then also in keeping with that mindset, we didn't want just our schools and our teachers united, but we wanted to unite with the district as well, just continuing to build on what we had done last year. So we actually restructured, we completely did away with past committees. We looked at it all, dug through that, and restructured them, created some new ones, and then we restructured the leadership of each one of them. And so that all of our 5 committees will have a liaison that will work directly with Sharon Snyder, who is in the Office of Instruction and Accountability, and she's over professional development for our district. And so that one person on each committee will be working with her, and so that we can have that open communication. The other amazing thing with Sharon is that she's offered Teacher Forum in order just to be another help and support to do the nuts and bolts things that isn't the big task of planning these sessions and different things, but maybe just like printing signs and things like that. She's offered to help us out by letting her office take that on this year. And so it's just another example of the amazing partnership that the teachers are having with the district, that it's not, yes, it's by teachers and for teachers, but we're still coming together and being a united district. So, and the last bit of bragging I'd like to do, and it's going to look like I'm trying to brag on myself, and I promise I'm not. But we were really excited about this, how we got to play a part in the superintendent search participation, that you guys once again reached out to Teacher Forum and allowed us to come and have a sit-down 45-minute session with each one of the candidates and ask them our questions. But not only that, how every single one of the board members would come to Teacher Forum and say, what did you guys think? And it wasn't just us, you went to every stakeholder, but we felt so appreciated and respected, and we just wanted to say thank you for giving us a voice. But we were really excited because as we were walking out from when we announced that we accepted or offered Ms. Blackburn the job, one of the news channels stopped us and asked us for a quote. And normally, I just feel like the media, has a reputation for being negative, and sometimes we only hear about bad things, but we got to share this really good thing that was going on in the district. And we got to brag about how our district not only asked teachers to come in for input, but then wanted our input. And more importantly, and I told her I was more excited that our board made a unanimous decision on Ms. Blackburn. And that just showed what an amazing step we were taking as coming together as a unified district. And Teacher Forum was so proud to be a part of that. So just thank you for your continued support of Teacher Forum. And I just wanted to also to thank Dr. Turner personally. Next time we give a quarterly report, Ms. Blackburn will be up there. But we just wanted to say thank you for how you've stepped up as our interim superintendent. And even though you were here just for a short time, you still wanted to work with Teacher Forum and listen to us and give us a voice. And we appreciate the amazing job that you've done. So thank you very much. Any questions?
Quick comment, outstanding presentation.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely, you have me in the palm of your hands. The anchor holds in spite of the storm. And there's a lot of storms out there, Miss Reeder. But they're not going to stop us from doing what they're not going to stop us from doing what we chose to do with our lives. I'm fired up after hearing that. Thank you.
Well, good.
Thank you.
I'm glad to hear it.
May I make just a quick comment? I too want to thank you, because having worked with the forum a long time ago, it's very hard to make a change, even when that membership, is fluid with the school teachers of the year. And so that slide about the changes you've made does not do justice to your work. And then, because I always feel like you're learning and you're just emerging as a leader, I want to share with you something again, and I'm not fussing at you this time.
Okay.
But a good friend of mine always reminds me, if you've done it, it ain't bragging. You did it.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can brag all you want, and we're very, very proud of you and all of those teachers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment before you leave. I'm very impressed with the involvement coming on as a new board member and having the opportunity to get feedback from teachers. I think that was the best move for me.
Wonderful.
To know exactly how the teachers felt about candidates. And we, involvement is what matters. And I can speak for myself. I really appreciate that.
And we appreciated
Thank you.
it very much. It meant a lot to us, so thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you, Ms. Reeder. right, then moving on to agenda item number 9. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
All right, we have a motion to go into executive session. It's been seconded. Do we have any discussion?
Need to state the reasons.
State the reasons. We're going to be listening to student appeals. There's 4 of them. Discussion of pending employment matters. Receipt of legal advice, that is settlement of a disputed legal claim and employment matter. Discussion of an employment matter and a potential release of employee, and a contractual matter, RE property. Any discussion? And I call the question. Those in favor of this motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. And we are in executive session.